Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. In 2008, the great financial crisis had just hit, and gold prices took a beating from that as well. It was down 30% from $1,000 an ounce to 700 an ounce. And I was looking to buy some gold coins, and I had my eyes on one particular coin, 100,000 yen gold commemorative made in 1986 to celebrate an emperor. And the reason I liked it is because it had a face value of 100,000 yen, and it had about 20 grams of gold. And if you were wrong about gold, chances are 100,000 yen would still be worth something. And if you were right about gold, that was good too, right? And this is not exactly the most popular coin to find, right? There's a market for it, but on any given day, the odds of a coin dealer having it are not that great, right? So I went online to look for such a coin with no luck. And you got to remember, this was during a very quick flash crash. There was no sign of this lasting forever. I had about $1,000, $1,500 to spend. And so I started buying other gold and silver coins. Silver had crashed from earlier that year. It had been close to $20 an ounce, and now it was $8, $9, $10 an ounce. And I remember buying a lot of junk Canadian silver coins because they didn't have the kind of premium that US silver coins have. And you might say, well, what's the point? Because when you sell it, you're also not going to get a good premium. Well, here's the thing. The whole reason to buy silver is for the shit hits the fan kind of scenario. When that happens, I'd rather have more ounces of silver, right? We can always worry about the cost of refining the silver later. If silver goes up, I expect the cost of refining relative to the price of silver to go down. So, for example, if silver was $10 an ounce back then, and the reason Canadian silver coins were cheaper was because it costs more to refine. It might cost $1, $2 an ounce to refine that out of it. Eventually, when shit hits the fans and silver's the equivalent of $80, $90, $100 an ounce, the cost of refining that silver might not go up all that much relative to the cost of the silver, right? So the bottom line is I'd rather have more ounces of silver, right? So I still hold by that rule, by the way. I always buy the form that has the lowest premium. And I have a variety of silver as a result because I always buy the one that holds the lowest premium at the moment in time. At the end of that week, I had bought a bunch of Canadian junk silver. I had bought, I think, a few fractional gold coins, if I remember correctly. And then something really upsetting happened at the end of that shopping spree. The 100,000 yen gold coin finally shows up after I had spent all my money. And to this day, almost 2 decades later, I can still feel the pain of seeing that. Like, even to this day, every time I buy one of those coins, which I haven't lately, but I have 5 of them so far, every time I buy one, it's like I return to that same pain. Sometimes I was at a coin show one time. I bought a coin just like that. After I had paid for it, I talked to the dealer about this story, and this story is kind of a metaphor. I'll get to the metaphor in a moment. And so the dealer laughed with me, and he says, well, now you have one, so it's great. And I told him I actually have a few others, and so he said, come on, it's a funny story now. And I agree with him. It would be a funny story, except that this kind of scenario plays out a lot in our everyday lives, right? So you may have been watching my videos as of late. You know that I've had a lot of frustrations with dating here in the field. Dating can feel like that at times too. You never know after you've really committed to somebody, then the right person shows up, right? Another place this can come up with is with eating disorders. Oftentimes, part of the reason I used to have binge eating problems is that I would finish my meal and wish I had eaten something else instead, right? Or right now I'm thinking about moving to you guys saw my last video, to Montana, and as soon as I land a job over there, I'm gonna wish I had picked a different job, picked a different city, and unfortunately, it isn't just the 100,000 yen gold coin that is painful, right? It's the whole metaphor of that story that is painful. That unfortunately we have to live with, right? Part of the problem is that we don't live forever. If we live forever, then the whole saga would be a non. You date the wrong person, you just push the reset button and start over again, right? If you pick the wrong job, now you take whatever money you have from that and you push the reset button, right? The main reason you can't do that is that we don't live forever, right? Which is why it's more important than ever to take care of your good health, right?